My name is Madison Vaughn, and I'm an occupational therapy student at Lincoln Memorial University. This is part 6 of my Caring with Confidence series, and today I'll be talking about how to support developmental milestones across the lifespan. This presentation is designed to provide practical tools for caregivers, realistic expectations, and strategies that they can use in real time, especially when working with children who may have delays or special needs. I'll provide a quick overview of what will be covered in this presentation. First, I will review developmental milestones and what they mean. I'll then talk about supports and what to do if caregivers have concerns about development. Then I'll review resources that are available to caregivers. After that, I'll talk through some expectations for independence by age group and strategies to support those skills. And finally, I'll end with some practical tips and tricks that caregivers can start using right away. We will now get into an overview of developmental milestones. Developmental milestones are skills that most children can do by a certain age, and by most children, I mean 75% of children at that age. Developmental milestones help us track how the child is growing and how they're developing. Milestones are important because they can help us identify delays early on and determine if a child might benefit from additional services or support. We typically think of milestones happening across 4 domains, those being motor, social and emotional skills, communication and language skills, and cognition. It is important to remember that milestones are based on typical development, so children with delays or special needs may follow a different path. Our role is to recognize when support is needed, not to compare or judge a child against their peers. Early intervention services can be incredibly helpful, and working with professionals like occupational therapists, physical therapists, and speech therapists is key. Caregivers do play a huge role in advocating for the child within medical and school systems as well. We're now going to shift into what to do when concerns come up because recognizing and acting early is one of the most important things a caregiver can do. If a caregiver does have concerns about development, the first step is going to be making an appointment with the child's doctor. During this appointment, you'll want to talk openly about what you're noticing at home, what you're noticing about development within the child. Keeping a milestone checklist can really help you track patterns and come prepared with those questions. You can do this through milestone tracker apps or paper checklists. During the appointment, you'll want to share your observations and ask for developmental screening if necessary. Finally, you'll want to make sure you understand the next steps and don't hesitate to ask questions or follow up for clarification later. Sometimes caregivers are told to wait and see, but if you still feel concerned, it is important to trust your instincts as a caregiver. You can seek a second opinion or request a free evaluation. For children under 3 years old, early intervention programs like Help Me Grow are available. There is a self-referral option where a caregiver can refer a child. A referral from a doctor is not necessary for early intervention services. For children who are 3 and older, your local public school can provide evaluations and services. The CDC does offer a milestone tracker app. It tracks milestones from 2 months to 5 years of age. It allows the caregiver to track development using checklists, photos, and videos. It also provides tips and lets the caregiver generate PDF reports that they can share with healthcare providers, and you can even get reminders about appointments within the app. The checklists do adjust for prematurity using the child's corrected age if they were born prematurely. I do want to recognize the benefits of kinship care. Kinship care has so many benefits, as you all are aware. It provides stability and reduces trauma from separation that the child may experience. It also helps maintain those important family connections, which can lead to greater emotional and psychological well-being. It often leads to better well-being outcomes compared to non-kin foster care through less disruptions and placement changes. I do want to mention these benefits to recognize the important role kinship caregivers play in supporting development and take this as a moment for caregivers to acknowledge the important work they do every single day. As I just mentioned, caregivers play a central role in the child's development. This includes things like creating routines, encouraging play-based activities, reinforcing those positive behaviors and habits, and modeling healthy coping mechanisms. Co-regulation, or helping a child manage their emotions, is especially important. Using a trauma-informed approach helps us better understand behaviors so that caregivers can respond appropriately. We'll now move into expectations and strategies for building independence and self-care skills across different age groups. Throughout these slides, I'll provide some examples of activities that you can delegate to the child at home to increase their responsibility. In infancy, independence is very basic. Babies begin exploring through play. They might shake toys or interact with objects in their environment. By around 12 months, they may start holding a bottle or trying finger foods. To support development at this stage, the focus should be on bonding and interaction. Skin to skin contact is important, especially early on. Talking, singing, and making eye contact also supports that communication. Tummy time is essential for building strength and motor skills. It should happen for at least 30 minutes a day. It assists with the baby's ability to roll, sit, and crawl because it strengthens those core and neck muscles. In toddlerhood, so we're looking at the 1 to 3 year age range, independence increases pretty quickly. Children begin feeding themselves, removing their clothing, and helping with simple tasks. At 1 to 2 years of age, you can expect them to feed themselves with their finger or with a spoon, drink from an open cup, and play alone for 5 to 10 minutes. Drinking and feeding may be very messy, but this is okay. By 2 to 3, you can expect them to undress, brush their teeth, engage in simple puzzles, and pretend play. By age 3, you may expect them to clean up, use utensils, and engage in imaginative play. To support toddlers, the focus should be on language and movement. Some helpful strategies at this stage are to name objects, which will help increase those language skills. You should encourage walking and climbing and offer them simple positive choices. When offering those choices, keep it limited to 2 to 3 positive options. This helps increase their autonomy, but also reinforces the expectations. Play-based learning like blocks and pretend play is also very effective. In preschool years, children develop more of those self-care skills. This is often known as the I can do it stage. By age 3, children begin to develop the fine motor skills and the desire to do tasks alone, though they often require a lot of verbal prompting. They can undress, wash their hands, put their toys away, and they can eat with a fork and spoon. 4-year-olds are more capable of those complex tasks and they show more confidence in their self-sufficiency. They can start to dress themselves, set the table, make their bed, and manage basic hygiene. By age 5, they can handle more complex tasks like pouring drinks or helping care for pets. 5-year-olds are often ready for more responsibility, including better hand-eye coordination and emotional regulation. Strategies at the preschool stage include encouraging sharing and turn taking, modeling that emotional language, and promoting pretend play. Reading and asking questions also supports their thinking and communication. Letting children solve small problems helps build their independence. It is important to model how to label your emotions and feelings, even if you have to do it in a way that feels dramatic or overdone. But this is the first time children are beginning to understand those emotions a little better, so having the words and tools to express them is very important. By school age, children gain significant independence. By 6 to 7 years of age, they can independently complete their dressing, grooming, and bathing tasks. They are learning to tie their shoes. You can also expect them to make their bed, set the table, sort the laundry, and organize their school supplies. By 8 to 9, you can expect them to pack their own lunch, unload and load the dishwasher, sweep the floor, and manage their belongings. By 10 to 12, they can start to cook simple meals and handle small responsibilities like budgeting for small purchases, cleaning the bathroom, and vacuuming the home. At the school age, it is best to support them by creating routines, especially for things like homework. You should also encourage hobbies and responsibilities at home that relate to the child's interests. You could have a list of chores and allow them to pick 2 to 3 chores they want to be responsible for, so you're still having them do the chores but allowing them some autonomy in it. Remember to praise their effort, not just the outcome, because this really builds their confidence and self-sufficiency at this stage. Kids want to be told they're doing a good job. In adolescence, independence becomes a lot more advanced. Teens manage things like their personal hygiene, schedules, and responsibilities like jobs and finances. By 13 to 14, you could expect them to wake up using their own alarm, pack their lunch and backpack, help with caring for younger siblings, and washing the dishes. By 15 to 16, you could expect them to cook simple meals, assist with grocery shopping, manage basic finances, and learn to check the oil in the car, as well as how to pump gas. By late adolescence, they should be preparing for adult independence, including managing a bank account, doing their own laundry, scheduling appointments, and job searching. At this stage, in order to best support the adolescent, the focus should be on communication and boundaries. Encourage open conversations without judgment and discuss setting clear boundaries. Help with their goal setting and discuss peer pressure and decision making, as well as how to make safe choices. We'll now move into some practical caregiver strategies that you can use across different ages. The first technique we will discuss is called the pause and wait technique. And this technique involves taking a question and then waiting 5 to 10 seconds for an answer. This gives the child time to process and respond what is being asked of them, which is especially helpful for children with language delays, late talkers, or those who have difficulty with expressive language. It encourages them to initiate those thought processes and learn to express their ideas more clearly. The next strategy we'll talk about is making purposeful mistakes. Here, you intentionally make a small mistake and see if the child notices. If they do not notice, you can ask them things like, "Wait, was that right?" Some examples would be placing your shoe on the wrong foot or saying the wrong color. This would be more for younger kiddos. This encourages attention, problem solving, and confidence when they're able to correct you. The next strategy we will discuss is called emotion coaching, and this is a strategy that involves labeling emotions in real time and could be used at any age. This helps children understand their feelings and how their body is reacting. It involves labeling emotions as you feel them versus after the breakdown has already occurred. For example, you could say, "Your breathing is very quick right now," or "Your hands are in fists. I think you might be feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. Is that accurate?" Asking the child if it's accurate also helps them notice their own emotions and how their body is responding. What you are trying to achieve is helping the child build body awareness and monitor how their body responds to different feelings. You could even use a feelings wheel. The next strategy is using daily special time. Here you'll set aside 5 to 10 minutes each day where the child leads the activity. You let them choose the activity and put all electronics and phones away. While engaging in the activity, this is a time you are not providing any corrections or teaching them to do things any differently. This strengthens attachment and creates a positive, pressure-free interaction. Getting that undivided parent or caregiver attention during special time helps fulfill that connection and strengthens their attachment and relationship with the caregiver. The next technique is called future previewing. Previewing helps children prepare for transitions and can be particularly helpful for children with increased anxiety or resistance to transitions. Letting them know what's coming next reduces that anxiety and improves their cooperation. How to implement this strategy is to say things like, "In 5 minutes, we are putting your toys away and starting our night routine." Or "One more round of the video game and then you have to wash the dishes." This really helps with predictability. Parallel play is the next strategy, and it involves being near the child while doing your own activity. For example, you could read a book, fold the laundry, or manage your bills while being in the same room beside the child. This avoids putting pressure on them to talk or interact with you, but keeps the line of communication and connection open. It builds connection without pressure, which is especially helpful for older children. The next strategy is completing those sensory check-ins. Ask the child how their body feels. For example, if they are tired, wiggly, or calm. You can offer things like a weighted blanket, a movement break, or quiet time. This builds self-awareness and helps with their emotional regulation. It is important to find what supports make the child feel emotionally regulated. We discussed a lot of strategies throughout this presentation, and I encourage caregivers to take a moment and reflect. Think about what strategies you've already tried, which feel realistic, and which you might start using at home. But remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What matters is finding what works for you and the child. These are my references.